Last November, I hired 7 part-time employees for this project. And then this April, I only had to hire 2 people. And all the other stuff were done by AI.
First, let's talk about you and your experience.
Okay.
So when we were initially talking, you've mentioned that you were originally a UX designer right out of undergrad. You snuck into Stanford University's dorm room and started your first startup. Can you please talk about, your journey, what made you switch from being a UX designer to an entrepreneur, your journey after that?
Sure. I think my personality is just very driven. And my first job out of college was my title was not a UX designer, but it was more like a digital like interaction designer where I did social media, UX UI design, editorial design, creative art direction where I would go to these like photo shoots. So it was very like wearing multiple hats, which I loved. And then after a couple years, I got bored out of it, and I've always wanted to be my own boss and do my own thing.
Right.
And this was back in 2015, like fall. And I'm very social, so I start to ask my friends, "Hey, like, is anyone looking for a co-founder? I know like a little bit of creative and marketing." And then at that time, one of my friends at Harvard, she had a friend at Stanford GSP grad school. So then I met my co-founder then at the Rockefeller Center, and we started to ideate on potential ideas. And then a couple of weeks after that, we formed a team. And then I decided to leave Saks Fifth Avenue, and then I moved to Stanford University's campus. And I started to, well, it was supposed to be like a couple days. And I don't know, I started to go to their classrooms, and they were at the last semester of their grad school. And I just loved the experience. So after a couple weeks of living with her and like a couple other co-founders, we decided to pursue it and raise money. And then we started to live at one of the co-founders' parents' basement. Yeah.
Sounds like straight out from Silicon Valley.
Well, but to be fair, I didn't know anything about it. My background, I went to Parsons because I wanted to become a fashion designer. And I didn't know anything about Silicon Valley or startup. I didn't go to business school. I didn't know anything about business. All I wanted to do was just work on the idea that I loved. So yeah, so it was very, very natural, and people were very welcoming. And I think I was the only one there who looked out of Silicon Valley. Like I
Right.
had blonde hair, like very fashionable, like clothing, like very colorful, not like Apple t-shirt logos. But because of that, I think people were more welcoming, and it kind of like sparked the VCs, like, oh, like, what are you guys working on?
Right.
Yeah.
So what was your day-to-day like as a co-founder on a startup, obviously coming from design world?
I mean, well, we woke up. I mean, I wake up in the basement, and it was not the best experience. And then kind of like we just woke up and coded. So our first MVP was a beauty AI chatbot, and we're just coding, and I was just cranking out the screens for like testing. So day to day, it was just wake up and code and just build. However, what was interesting, and this is something that I never really gotten experience or training from school, was that as a UX designer, I think it was in my intuition that I wanted to test it. And so then we would go in front of a Sephora and just ask 200 people in front of the Sephora, and just ask like these like dermatologists and estheticians to gather some of their like feedbacks, and then implement it into the MVP product. And I love that process. And then I think that's the first time that I realized, oh wow, I really love validating the idea and learning about if this is going to work or not, and then how the users' feedback shapes this product, especially for early stage.
Got it. Obviously, in order to get your startup launched, you guys got involved in fundraising. And how was that process like?
It was a lot of pitching, and my ex-co-founder, she came from VC, and it was through like our network or her network or through word of mouth, but also a lot of cold calling. I do remember it was one of the largest VC in New York, so we flew to New York, and like all my co-founders were women. Like so, two were from GSP, and then one was from she was a CTO from Stanford, data scientist, and then me, and that was the first time that I realized, oh wow, as a woman founders, when we go pitch, especially we were except one girl, we were all Asian girls. A lot of people were hitting on us, or and then we thought, oh, like like our product's awesome, they believe in us, and then we realized, oh, he just wanted our number. We're like, so that was a little bit of a bummer, but that's when I started to understand, okay, so this is America, this is the business world. Like as an Asian woman, we have to toughen up, and then we learn how to like be more protective and like show how to like draw boundaries and be more professional. And it was a great experience for me because where I come from is the design world where most males are gays, and I'm surrounded by 90 or 80% women.
After all these years of experiences, do you have any advice for juniors? And, I think a lot of people, it's unfortunate that you experienced that, but are probably looking at it in two ways. First could be how to draw a very straight boundaries and make sure you're playing by, making everything kosher, versus also understanding the world is not a perfect place and you're trying to game the system to your advantage.
Yeah. And this is something that I had to learn a lot at BCG too. As a Korean who grew up in Korea and China, unfortunately, I did not really get this education what a woman leader should be, because I did not have many like role models around me.
Sure.
So I learned that mentorship is very important, and the mentorship doesn't have to come from same sex or same ethnicity, but there needs to be someone who can coach you in different aspects. Meaning one can be like business, personal, or empowerment, or like different ethics or different aspects. But it's your job to go seek those, because people are not going to come and feed you those. The second is I would love to share with the juniors who are just coming out of college or grad school, is I kind of have like a fuck you mentality.
Okay.
Because in America, you really have to toughen up and go out there, build your personal brand, and just make your voice heard.
Yeah, you need to express yourself.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes I'm the only like design background person, and even though let's say like I'm 25, I am pretty good. So you have to kind of like fake it till you make it, that kind of like mentality, and like put on that armory on you and just get out in the world.
And going back to fundraising, you guys raised $500,000. Is there any lessons learned from that? Or if you go back, how would you approach it differently?
I don't think it's anything about the fundraising, but I do wish that, I mean, we started this company when we're like mid-20s.
Right.
So I'm in my mid-30s now. And if I can go back, I would love to do better hirings. We hired 2 expensive engineers in the beginning that cost a lot, and we could have used that for so many other things. And then second is that I would have aligned on our product vision and strategy even better, like early on, and with our investors too. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to leave the company. And unfortunately, and then like other co-founders left too. But yeah.
Let's talk more about AI and design world.
Yeah.
So every day I'm inundated by all these news of AI this, AI that, it's going to disrupt all the industries, going to wipe out the jobs. What is actually happening in the front line? Are you seeing any changes from AI
yeah.
implementations?
100%. So I'm running my hackathon. So my company is called Designpreneurs. So I have the Designpreneurs Hackathon and I have the Designpreneurs Ventures. So for the venture side, I'm currently working with Fortune 1000 companies in the United States. And one of the company, they hired me to come up with concepts for their innovation division. And that's what I've been doing at BCG Digital Ventures, where we come up with a startup idea, we validate it, and then we build. So then for this company, it was like the first part where we came up with the ideas and then like we slightly build like the MVP and then launched and then bring back the data if it's working or not. Last November, I hired 7 part-time employees for this project. And then this April, I only had to hire 2 people. And all the other stuff were done by AI, which
Wow.
is fascinating. So then it was great for me as a business owner to cut the cost. However, the clients also knew that they can cut the cost too. And then the project was a lot shorter.
Right.
So I realized, okay, we are in a completely different game with validating the ideas, building the idea, quickly launching, and then gathering this marketing data or customers' data and feedback for this new concept. Rather, it's for like physical or digital. So it's a total game changer. Yeah,
Got it. 7 to 2 is a big change.
big change.
So, what worked for those 2? Like, what are the top skills you need today to survive and make it in that 2 people boat?
That's a great question. So, interestingly, for the first the November project, let's say I hired like director level, lead level, senior, and junior. This time, cut everything out. I just hired 2 juniors who are great at AI, fresh out of college.
Wow.
And all I had to do was tell them, okay, do this and this and this, and then you guys run it and then come back with the data. Because they already knew how to utilize these AI design tools or AI marketing or other tools, even for like product roadmap and strategy too, that they already had that ability to use, not only use AI, but had that like holistic thinking and strategy that I was able to just give them the work. And
Can you be a little bit more specific? Like, what kind of AI tools were useful for them, and what kind of, thought process really worked?
yeah. So for example, can't really share much about the client data, but so for example, let's say there are 4 concepts, right? Like let's say 4 startup concepts that we had to launch in the market and then bring back the data for the client. For example, for this product designer, I gave this person a role to be a product manager and user researcher and strategist and a designer and a motion graphic designer and a presentation designer.
Wow.
So imagine before this April, back last year,
Right.
the other people, I had to hire many freelancers for those, like for different roles. However, this person were able to do all of that. And which AI design tools were Midjourney, Sora, like presentation like Gamma. I don't think we utilize any like prototype AI because it wasn't launched in April. I wish it was. But we use like Bolt, Lovable for like generating websites. I I mean, like ChatGPT, like Cloud, all these like AI tools for like, ideating on like product features and roadmap. And what we had, our role was utilizing these tools, but then we had to have a very specific and sparkling idea that none of the other competitors or clients' competitors can come up with.
Got it.
So I think so. That was. I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. It feels like seniority no longer matters almost. Idea is what matters the most. And in a weird way, now juniors are empowered to use these AI tools and be able to punch above their weight class now.
If they can.
So let's talk a little bit about your company. What is it called again?
It's called Designpreneurs.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it does?
Yeah. So I started this back in 2021. And honestly, I just started because I wanted my design students to become an entrepreneur.
Right.
So it started as an internal hackathon at, I think it was SVA, with my students. And then I pitched it to NYU Stern. And then they have this entrepreneurship division called Berkeley Center for Entrepreneurship. And then we did our first Entrepreneur plus Designer hackathon together.
Wow.
Where it became private hackathon for 3 years. So it became annual hackathons. And then I realized, wow, I kind of validated the product market fit for both founders and designers and engineers.
Right.
So I decided, okay, let's go full on. So it's been a year and a half since I have been fully quit my full-time job and working on Designpreneurs Hackathon, and also doing the consulting on the side for the Designpreneurs Ventures.
That's crazy. So why is Hackathon so effective compared to you doing your own work at your company? Tell us about what works. Why should people come to Designpreneurs and compete at these hackathons? What will they get out of this?
Yeah. So how we're different from most hackathons are focusing on like engineering build. However, we are focused on innovation and design and product market fit, which means a lot of times when startup founders, and most of them comes from a technical or business background and we talk about this desirability, viability, and feasibility chart. And most of them focus on feasibility and viability. However, for the early stage startups, they need to start from the desirability, meaning would there be users using your products? And the statistics out there, 14 out of 20 reasons why startups fail is because the desirability has not been met, where a lot of times the startups are spending 100K, like 200K on engineering that they build features that the users would not use.
No one wants.
Which is bonkers for me because as a UX designer, we're all about desirability. So this startup design hackathon is great because we help the startups to validate that within 24 to 48 hours with the power of UX design, UX research and strategy, and also like design prototyping and get out in the market and test it and then come back.
So this is open for both entrepreneurs and also designers as well. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So what are the common things that designers and, either business-minded or technical-minded founders usually butt heads on?
That's a good question. I think founders are mostly about the speed and designers are a little bit about the depth.
Interesting.
And designers wants to think out of box, and founders are usually thinking about the feasibility or like the budget. So there are a little bit of friction, not friction, but like challenges or collaboration needed on that. Yeah.
Got it. And coming from business world, for me, it sounds like either being realistic or trying to make a pitch perfect product. And what's the best way to balance both? Because I feel like it needs to be viable, it needs to be realistic, but also, there needs to be a certain amount of depth and it factor for it to start gaining traction at the same time, right?
I really think that the first step needs to be focus on desirability. So go crazy with your ideas and then test it out in the market and then bring back if that crazy idea will work or not. And then that idea can be broken up to features. And then that features, I think I'm kind of getting into like technical, but then the features can be, divided into now like the product roadmap on how much budget or resources do you have. But it really needs to be focused on, okay, what would be that hook in the market for you that you can gain that traction, and then therefore you will get that revenue.
Got it. What will be the top 3 advice that you would give your design students?
My design students. Okay. So for designers, first, act like a founder. So be business minded.
Okay.
And second, be pitch ready and work on your storytelling. A lot of times designers are working with screens and they're not really good at communications.
Right. They just focused a little too much on the product itself.
Right. And you have to sell your idea because you are the product owner now.
Right.
And third, make AI your bestie.
How deep do you need expertise in AI? What's the level that we're talking about? Is it just like, hey, I'm like vibe coding with Lovable, or is there something more to it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what is the right amount of expertise in AI, but I do think that AI needs to be your bestie, meaning you have to utilize or at least practice new AI design tools or AI tools
Right.
at least 1 hour a day.
Okay.
That's a requirement.
That seems easy.
Yeah. And no one's AI expert. Even my friend at OpenAI, she says we're not AI experts, and they're like the leading company in the world. So
I mean, absolutely. The world is changing at a record pace.
so fast. Yeah.
And for, business or tech-minded entrepreneurs, what would be the 3 advice you would give them?
So first, focus on desirability and validate the users and needs first instead of worrying about the budget or technical feasibility. Second, utilize and have your designers as your besties, meaning that they're not there for the decorations or like making things pretty, but utilize like strategic and UX designers to shape your product and strategy together and kind of like build a prototype and just launch it in the market instead of spending money on engineers.
So, I mean, obviously, both sides I would imagine both sides usually would not understand each other. So if you're advising someone who's just coming from the business world, I think design is important. I don't know how much important it is, how much time or money I would spend. What would be the advice you would give me when I'm trying to build this product and let's say you're my mentor, like Jay, you should focus on X, Y, and Z, or you should use your design professionals to work with you in certain ways. What would you tell me?
I would say, Jay, find a design engineer. Nowadays, like designers are.
So is design engineer like my colleague that we share the burden, or is that like a tool for me where I can just rapidly test ideas?
Should be your thought partner.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be your co-founder or colleague or someone who can be along your side and shape the product together with you. And I am being very specific about the designers here. So you're not going to work with, let's say, like visual driven designer here. In this case, I'm talking more about like UX or strategic designer.
I see.
But then those designers who understands the engineering and feasibility aspect of it, where they can be a design engineer.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes sense. How did you think about today's podcast?
It was great. first time podcasting like this, so I don't know how I did well, but I hope I can inspire the next generation designers who would like to be founders or any aspiring founders. And yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think we learned a lot. Thank you for your time.
Cool. Thank you.